Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation about the branding of Las Vegas. My name is Amy McAuliffe, student number 10560504. Today I will be briefly discussing the current state of Las Vegas's international branding position by deeply analysing current issues and further providing some recommendations based on current research. So, Las Vegas and Visitors Authority, also known as LVCVA, is in charging of basically building and protecting the Las Vegas brand. A study by Hope Corrigan revealed some of the basic issues that the convention face on an international scale, including the growth in competition in the gambling market, some visa adjustments that have been made to the United States for international guests, some economic restrictions, and changes to the branding position. So, by using some pretty basic marketing theories such as SWOT analysis and the marketing mix components, LVCVA can be given a clear indication on how to basically keep building the brand, especially directed towards the Australian market. So, a few issues that have been identified in the case by Hope Corrigan, which are now basically going to be further explored. So, one of the first issues is the competitive environment that now exists on the international level. So, to accurately measure the extent of the countries that gamble the most, what happens is the losses per head are measured. So, it comes out to an average that every person in that country, it's basically they've got an average number. So according to the World Atlas in April 2017, the United States, it didn't even make the top 10 on the list. First, it was Australia, followed by Singapore and Ireland. So they were the top 3 world gamblers. And also with that in mind, all of those countries have continued to develop casinos in all those countries, so making it easier for people to gamble in their own places. They don't have to travel. So the next issue that is a really big one that's also going to be focused today is the travel constrictions that LVCVA are very aware that international guests with more accessible visas to the States are obviously a lot more likely to travel compared to those who require interviews, who have to wait longer periods of time to get visas. Those countries are very unlikely to be travelling, but also with that in mind, those countries are also the ones that are gambling the most and the most likely to be spending money. So both of these issues can be identified in the macro environment. So travel restrictions, they don't have anything to do with LVCVA. It's something that's totally out of their control. It's something that they have absolutely no say in. That's the same with the competition. They have no control over that. So these are all elements, like I said, they are out of their control, but they still have the ability to manage them and they still can actually do something about this. So LVCVA deals with the international market. It aims to drive visitors and basically uphold certain levels when competing with these other brands. So the management of the brand has been extremely successful in the past, with one of the most famous campaigns, What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas, celebrating its 10th year anniversary in 2012. But some of the major problems that they are facing are external issues. So some of the best ways to deal with that is to deal with that internally, which I'll explain how that's going to work. So the market now, compared to what it has been in the past, has really, really grown and developed. People don't just think of Vegas as a gambling city anymore. There's obviously a lot of attractions and shows. LVCVA really need to adapt and keep adapting to compete with this international competition and deal with the ever-changing environment. So some possible solutions to dealing with this include introducing a new campaign, stepping up marketing, updating image, and really looking to the future. So these all contain a number of pros and cons as well. Dealing with international guests and their visa restrictions really comes in with the consumer decision-making process, because as those consumers are getting to that point of purchase, of traveling to Vegas, this is when it's really, really affected, is the purchase point, because it's no longer LVCVA who are stopping people from visiting. It's something that, like I said, it's the visas. So possible solutions include a new target market, so focusing on those people who do have the ability to travel. The brand into the position range, basically pushing it into a positive range of motion. So excluding price as a factor and focusing on what they can control in the microenvironment. So some of the major problems that can be addressed using the marketing theories include visa restrictions and international competition, as visa restrictions are external macro environment problem, and like I said, they have no real chance of changing this, but they're still very aware of it, and it's good to be aware of these sort of things because then they can change what they can control. So the domestic visitors have been shown not to spend as much compared to international guests. People who travel to Vegas from the States, their spendings are pretty low compared to international guests. So it's important to still consider their international visitors as a real bonus. Singapore and China are really, really strong gamblers, and they're also really big competition with creating more casinos. But because they have so many issues with visas, LVCVA really shouldn't focus on that. They should really look to Ireland and Australia, who are also considered such strong gamblers, but also have a much easier time actually getting to the States. And it's been shown that they're going to be the ones who are going to spend the most money. So it's good to have that full understanding of your audience, but also focusing on an audience that you can attract. Altering the target market and focusing on the micro environment allows for the macro environment to not be an issue. The solutions that have sort of been mentioned applied by LVCVA should have some sort of success. It should be pretty good for them to still have a really good international market, basically. So for the international competition, LVCVA should step up the marketing, update their image. Is a risky move, obviously, but in order to stay relevant, they need to grow and adapt. By stepping up the marketing campaign, it can really attract new people and it can really give a fresh spin. The marketing positioning statement, and it just makes an effort to really reach consumers that they might not have considered, and informing people that you do have a new take on things. So it doesn't really have to be that costly either for them. Updating the image of the business and putting a twist on the slogan can give a completely new look. So updating that slogan of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, having something different but still sticking to that original idea. It can really enhance the existing presence and attract new target markets. So LVCVA should clearly be the ones to make appropriate changes and not concern themselves with the macro environment. The adjustment to the campaign should be done at a very slow rate, sort of allowing audiences to get new to new improvements. So not completely changing things too quickly, giving people time to get used to new slogans, but also keeping up with those original ideas. So as a new target market would be the best way to deal with the issues of the visa restrictions and bring more international guests. So you don't have to deal with visa restrictions, So it's sort of been proven as well that you do not have to face this more of a chance of spending. So like I said in a few slides back, international guests are going to be the one who are going to be spending the most there. So dealing with the new target market, it can be quite costly and you might lose your original customers, but it is a really good way of dealing with it. So yes, thank you for listening.